Hey, it's John Crypto. In the last 24 hours, $756 million worth of crypto was sold. Not a mistake. $147 million in Bitcoin longs are gone, $171 million in Ethereum longs are gone, and shorts. They only had to pay $277 million. BTC dropped $4,000 in just a few hours. ETH, $192, was taken off the board while traders yelled at their margin calls. This isn't market movement. It's a massacre, a perfectly planned derivatives bloodbath. The big news is that every major headline is screaming crypto rebounds or volatility is normal. That's the story they want you to believe. If you don't look at the death and destruction below, the charts look like they're stabilizing. But if you look deeper, the truth becomes clear. Retail longs are stuck at the highest leverage and are being forced out like lambs to the slaughter. In the meantime, the whales and shady organizations sit quietly, collecting every Satoshi that has been sold off like it's monopoly money. This isn't putting money into something, it's stealing money. Now put the pieces together. Open interest went up before this storm of liquidations. Exchanges were already showing strange long exposure. They lured retail in with rising prices, gave the impression that things were getting better, and then pulled the rug out from under them with deadly accuracy. There is a huge difference between the $478 million in long liquidations and the $277 million in shorts. The market isn't free. People control it. Every panic stop out, every flash crash, and every candle wick is a show for the smart money to enjoy. And here's what most people won't tell you. Those retail positions that are stuck, they weren't little fish. Traders at $74,010 BTC and $2,133 ETH took on too much risk because they thought this was a normal dip. While they were sweating, the giant wallets moved without making a sound. Open interest wasn't just numbers, it was a warning and a map of where the blood would flow. There was a reason for every spike in liquidation. The Fed, the banks, and the ETFs are all players who are easy to see but hard to find in plain data. The picture is almost like a movie, a sea of red candles, traders screaming as they hit margin calls, and on-chain data lighting up like a crime scene. Coins are going away from exchanges faster than you can blink. Retail panic, leveraged longs going through the roof, and ETFs quietly inflating. This environment is a trap that keeps weak hands out and makes the few rich. Here's the kicker. While everyone else was freaking out, whales not only lived, but they also bought millions of dollars worth of BTC and ETH at very low prices. This is not random volatility. This is a rigged market. The battle between retail and smart money is as old as crypto. Retail traders think price movement is normal. Smart money, on the other hand, sees patterns, setups, and liquidity pools. Retail gets stuck at 74K and 2033. Stops are triggered, and wallets are emptied. Smart money comes in, like vultures over a dead body, and quietly moves these coins to cold storage or institutional vaults. The psychological warfare is terrible. Every rise is followed by a crash. Every fall is followed by a flash liquidation. And the media always says, everything is normal. Now here's the real shocker. The market's heartbeat isn't the spot price. It's in derivatives, open interest, and data on liquidations. The $756 million loss is more than just numbers. It's a sign of a system that is stretched too thin, over-leveraged, and taken advantage of by people you'll never hear about on CNBC. They lie, steal, and let the stores burn, all while the news makes you feel safe. This is the false sense of order in chaos. And don't think this is the end of the story. It's only the beginning. Do you think this price movement is normal? Just wait until you see how the actual supply on exchanges is running out, how coins are disappearing from active wallets, and how liquidity pools are losing money. The next part shows the blood on the balance sheets, the inventory drain, the leverage traps, and the evil moves made by the giants behind every tick of this crypto massacre. But if you think that the $756 million liquidation storm was the end, you're wrong. The real crime scene is happening on the balance sheets of exchanges. Take a look at this. The balances on BTC and ETH exchanges are at their lowest levels in months. In the last week, more than 50,000 BTC and 200,000 ETH have been taken out of hot wallets. Coins that used to be on exchanges, ready for people to buy or sell, are disappearing. They're going into cold storage, institutional vaults, and private wallets that no one talks about. It feels like the market is losing blood. The leverage trap is deadly, though. Paper derivatives are the most popular, and futures contracts are growing while the actual supply of money is getting smaller. Retail traders were caught with too much leverage on their positions because they thought the dip was normal. Margin calls hit their accounts like a tsunami. Each forced liquidation brings the next trader closer to the edge, and the losses spread across the network. This isn't volatility. It's a psychological slaughterhouse meant to get rid of all the weak hands. Now look at the bad guys. BlackRock, JP Morgan, and their group of whales didn't just sit around. They set the trap by quietly rotating ETFs and derivatives before the liquidation. The money coming in and going out wasn't random. It was planned. ETFs showed strategic accumulation on dips, while retail burned in the open interest inferno. Every time there was a panic sale, the big companies made money. Scared retail traders served up a buffet of cheap satoshis. The most crazy part is that the bait and switch was perfectly planned. Prices were artificially lowered to force $756 million in liquidations, wipe out long positions, and make retail accounts disappear. And then institutions came in and bought up coins at low prices. People who were too big to fail were hoarding BTC and ETH that were leaving exchanges, not selling them. The system is rigged, and the people who pull the strings are not seen by most people. Now think about the echo from the past. Do you remember FTX, the 2020 DeFi liquidation cascades, the systemic squeeze of 2008? This pattern is very similar. Retail gets stuck, leverage goes up, the weak hands lose money, and the smart money comes out stronger on the other side. These things aren't out of the ordinary. They're part of the plan. And in crypto, this plan is carried out faster, harder, and with more accuracy. Imagine the charts turning red like flames, the balances on the exchanges drying up, and the on-chain analytics lighting up like an emergency alert. Retail positions shot up like fireworks. BTC longs at 74K and ETH at 2,133 are gone. Margin calls coming in the right order. And whales and ETFs quietly move millions to cold storage in the shadows, where most traders can't see them. This is just the beginning. Exchanges aren't just losing coins, they're losing their grip. It's not that the liquidity is naturally disappearing. It's being planned, timed, and carried out by people who know more about leverage than any retail trader ever could. Every red candle, every spike in liquidation, and every ETF inflow or outflow is a part of a pre-written playbook. Now take a moment to picture this. The West is scared and sells coins, while the East quietly buys up BTC and ETH. Big flows from Hong Kong, Singapore, and other Asian hubs show that people are secretly building up their wealth. Coins that leave US exchanges are quietly showing up again in Asia, probably in wallets held by central banks or whales with privacy layers. The global market isn't falling apart for no reason. It's being moved around. And here's the cliffhanger. While retail is losing money and exchanges are running out of supplies, a geopolitical tug-of-war is starting. East versus West, OTC flows, stealth accumulation, and central bank intervention are all coming together. The next chapter shows how these global forces are going to shake the crypto market to its core, and you won't believe who's winning behind the scenes. But while the West is freaking out, selling off positions and losing coins, the East is quietly buying up every Satoshi they can find. The best part is that ETF inflows into Asian and Hong Kong exchanges shot up right after the 756-meter liquidation storm. BTC and ETH were leaving US exchanges and going into wallets that don't show up on public order books. The bloodbath in the West stores. Their fear is causing stealth accumulation all over Asia. Now put the pieces together. Whale transfers on-chain to cold wallets in Asia don't happen by chance. These are institutional-level moves that are big enough to change short-term liquidity, but most traders can't see them. Every transfer tells a story. In the US, people are selling off their assets, while in Hong Kong, Singapore, and other crypto hubs, people are buying up assets. People in retail think the market is recovering, but coins are quietly disappearing into vaults controlled by central banks and secret wallets. This is accumulation all over the world. And here's something the mainstream media never shows you. The secret buyers are not just whales. Central banks in Asia and the Middle East are quietly buying up liquidated crypto through over-the-counter, OTC channels that don't leave a trace on regular exchanges. There are millions of dollars moving in blocks that are off the radar and building positions that could be as big as entire market caps. The story of panic in stores, it's just a way for institutions to quietly build up wealth. Policy changes are speeding up this process. The rules in the US are always changing. ETF scrutiny, derivative oversight, and possible legal problems are making the Western market a mess. At the same time, Asia is relaxing its rules on crypto, which is making it easier for people to buy a lot of it. This uneven regulation makes for a perfect arbitrage. US coins are sold off in a panic and bought up by the East at lower prices. The market isn't recovering, it's being strategically moved around. Now let's take a closer look at the supply chain war that is brewing. Mining is getting harder, which means that fewer new BTC are entering circulation. Staking ETH makes the supply even tighter by taking coins out of the liquid market. When you add to this the fact that a lot of coins were taken off exchanges during the liquidation cascade, you get a tighter squeeze on the crypto that is available. The stage is set for systemic pressure because demand keeps going up and supply keeps going down. Here's the kicker. Crypto is no longer just a risky investment. It could also challenge the dollar's dominance in cross-border payments. Central banks in Asia and the Middle East are taking steps that could change how transactions work around the world. They aren't just buying to make money, they're also getting systemic leverage. Every BTC and ETH that goes into these wallets isn't just a coin, it gives them power over the world's money. And don't forget about the psychological warfare. Retail traders in the West are stuck in a false story. Charts say the market is stabilizing and the media says it is recovering. But coins are disappearing, liquidity is getting tighter, and whales are ready to make money off of every mistake. The East isn't just buying, they're timing their purchases to get the most benefit from the system. Regulatory policy, on-chain stealth accumulation, and supply limits are all working together to make a perfect storm. There is a geopolitical tug-of-war going on that mainstream news isn't covering. Every time the US sells something, an Asian company buys it. Every time money comes in or out of an ETF, it becomes a strategic move. It's not about price anymore. It's about control, leverage, and positioning on a global scale. And here's the cliffhanger. All of these things, $756 million in liquidations, panic in the West, accumulation in the East, supply squeezes, and regulatory asymmetry, point to one inevitable conclusion. The market isn't just unstable, it's a small version of a global financial war. The last act is coming, and it will affect every part of the economy. The next chapter talks about macro doom, debt crises, and how the system is set up to work against you. And now the real nightmare is coming to light. The $756 million liquidation storm wasn't just a problem with cryptocurrency. It showed that the global financial system is broken. The national debt of the United States is getting close to $38 trillion. Bond yields in Japan are going up, and leverage positions in many markets are on the verge of collapse. The crypto sell-off? It's just a canary in the coal mine. Every forced unwind, margin call, and ETF shuffle shows how weak the whole leverage system is. The Fed's options are getting smaller every day, which is the kicker. Inflation is still going on, and the only thing left to do is inject liquidity, which will only help in the short term and cause disaster in the long term. Every dollar they print to keep the market stable makes the systemic risk even worse. The rescue packages aren't helping investors, they're making the next trap bigger. And who can take advantage of all this chaos? You guessed it. Whales, institutions, and shadow operators are ready to make money while the retail sector burns. Exchanges are out of money. Derivatives are too leveraged. Retail traders are stuck in trades they don't fully understand. $478 million in long liquidations and $277 million in short liquidations show that the system is set up to help a few people at the expense of many. And don't kid yourself, this isn't a mistake. Every crash, every ETF flow, and every panic-driven sell-off is a carefully planned trap that is carried out with military precision. Let's talk about predictions now, because the data is true. Before the next wave of manipulation hits, Bitcoin is likely to test the $65,000 support level again, and Ethereum may drop to $950. Whales are already getting ready for round 2. If retail builds up leverage shorts, another engineered squeeze could wipe out millions more. You are seeing a chaotic and controlled dance that is going on all the time, and most traders are doing it without knowing it. This is where it gets philosophical but also important. It's not just about making or losing money, it's all about power. Anyone who doesn't know how the system works is at a disadvantage. Banks, ETFs, and big institutional investors are not on your side. They do well when you panic. They do well when exchanges are in trouble. When leverage goes up, they do well. You are free when you take charge of your own keys, assets, and future, not when you depend on them. Here's the clear and direct call to action. Leave banks. Take care of yourself now. Don't let your money, your crypto, or your future get stuck in a system that uses fear and ignorance to its advantage. Put your coins in wallets that you own, protect your money, and sit back and watch the system go crazy. Now put the pieces together. $756 million was lost in just one day. Exchanges drained, open interest was manipulated, the West was in a panic, the East was building up, supply was getting smaller, and macro forces were hanging over everything like a storm cloud. The story of normal volatility is not true. This is a systemic failure happening right now with crypto as the canary and global debt as the ultimate predator. Every leveraged position you see on the screen is a bomb ready to go off. And here's the truth that most people won't say out loud. Freedom isn't watching prices on your screen. It's being able to control your own keys, assets, and future. It is possible that the market will crash again. The whales might attack. But if you know how the system works and take charge, you won't just survive, you'll thrive while everyone else burns. Every candle, every liquidation, every ETF flow, and every spike in debt teaches us about power and how to use it. And the real lesson is, the system is made to take advantage of and enslave people who aren't ready. But those who act, those who take care of their own things, and those who see through the lie are safe. So pay attention, learn, and do something. The $756 million that disappeared in 24 hours is just the beginning. Doom on a large scale is already knocking. Bonds, debt, inflation, and the Fed's actions all point to one thing. The system is broken, but you are in charge. And if you do, no whale, bank, Fed, or crisis can take it away from you. Hit that like button and subscribe now if this blew your mind and showed you the $756 million bloodbath you weren't seeing anywhere else. The next wave of liquidation is coming, and you don't want to be left in the dark. Hit the bell so you're the first to know where the whales, the Fed, and the East are going next. Share this with anyone still stuck on exchanges to wake them up before it's too late.